Hey guys, how's everybody doing? So I've been feeling kind of a little bit more creative lately. I definitely took a slow down on making videos this year. I'm feeling a little bit more creative juices flowing, so you might be seeing a little bit more videos coming from me within the next few weeks or so. We'll see about that. Are you gonna come join me, Thomas? Haven't made a video in a long time, and my last few videos you didn't join me. You have a perfect opportunity now if you want to join me. You used to get on camera all the time. Do you remember that, Thomas? Sorry. Thomas is distracting me. He's just kind of sitting there staring at me right now. Here he comes. But yeah, so I want to do a video discussing all the new music that I picked up this year. I don't really get as much like older music these days just because I already have a lot of the older music that I want, so I just don't really pick it up very often. But these are the new releases that were released in 2021 that I picked up. And in that sense, I didn't pick up very much new music this year. Usually at some point, I'll go back and, look at all the releases that I picked up in a year. This was a fairly light year compared to most years for me. But these are definitely some quality releases, not a single album I'm going to show off. I feel was a dud. All of these are great. So, yeah, these may or may not be in chronological order. I'm trying to go in chronological order, but I also didn't really bother to go back and confirm anything. I'm just going off memory. So the first release I'm going to show off is the only one that I only got on CD. It's Jim Ward Daggers. Actually have the disc in. I feel like this is the most recent one that I listened to, so I kind of feel like I still had it in my player, but I do still have the disc in. Really nothing special about the packaging, no booklet or anything though. It's just the case with the CD, but yeah. This album rocks. It's the most rocking album that I picked up this year. So Jim Ward has been in a bunch of bands. At the Drive-In was the first major band that he was in, playing guitar, keys, and backup vocals. Then after that, he started fronting his own band, starting with Sparta, which is kind of more of a emo alternative output. Then he started his alt country band, Sleeper Car. And then Sparta kind of went on a big break, and then they finally came back with a new album. And a lot of people said that their new album sounded more like a Sleeper Car album. Then he's finally put out his first solo album here, Daggers. And just because of kind of the direction he was going in, I was kind of expecting him to kind of explore more of that alt country, maybe a little bit more of a folky direction. I mean, that tends to be what happens a lot when, musicians go solo. Usually it's going to, be kind of more of a more folky output, or, something like that, something that they won't get away with their main releases. But no, this is one of the most hard rocking albums that he's put out in a long time. Really great album. I mean, I do enjoy pretty much everything that he's put out. I mean, I can't think of a single release that he's been involved in, at least that I've heard of, that I felt was a dud. But yeah, it is kind of nice to see him really going back to his rock roots. So really enjoyed this album. Next is another solo album. I kind of feel like in the last few years in general, like a lot of more solo albums and collaboration type albums have been kind of kicking off a lot more. There's only one release that I picked up that was just kind of from like a traditional band. The rest are like solo and collaborative albums. But we have Ed O'Brien is the guitarist and backing vocalist from Radiohead, released his first solo album. And as you can see, we do have a little parental advisory here. And I have no idea what's on it, or no idea why that's on, I should say. I mean, I don't think this has lyrics with it, but you know, I haven't picked up anything particularly explicit in the lyrics. But yeah, there's from Ed O'Brien. You know, got a gatefold. Got some really cool, you know, unbounded art inserts. I only have one other album that has, like, you know, a bunch of individual pieces of art like this. I kind of like that in albums. I mean, I know some people might kind of feel it a pain in the ass to not have it in a book format like that, but I don't know, I kind of like that. I mean, I'm not the type of person that would go around, like, you know, framing all these individually. I kind of like to keep, you know, my album packaging all together so I can kind of experience it like that as I listen to it. But what was really cool, though, is I got this signed postcard. First Radiohead autograph that I've got. And then sometimes, just depending on how they're packaged and stuff, I like to like put the CDs and singles like in my vinyl packaging. Just something that I kind of like to do. I don't know why, but I did pick it up on CD as well. Yeah, nice little CD. And okay, I do have no, there's no lyrics. There's just liner notes for each individual song. But yeah, so yeah, this album, I guess I should show you the vinyl itself too. So let me repackage this real quick. But yeah, this album is largely inspired by his time living in Brazil. Nice red vinyl. I think all of these are on colored vinyl that I got this year, but yeah, largely inspired by his time living in Brazil. I'd say it has kind of a Talking Heads and YouTube vibe to it. I wouldn't describe this as a acoustic album, but it's kind of subtle before you realize it. But I'd say probably about 75% of the guitar parts on this were played on acoustic guitar, and there are a few more rocking electric guitar-driven songs like, you know, Shangri-La, probably mispronounced that, and Olympic is another one. I've been particularly digging Olympic a lot. The song Brazil is another favorite of mine. It's kind of interesting because, you know, Sour Cell has a more stripped down, finger-picked folk song, then kind of transitions to more of, you know, a more dancier, you know, electronic-driven song. You know, it's very bit kind of more beat-heavy, fair amount of, like, you know, synthesizer grooves. It's a very groove-oriented album, so yeah, another really excellent new album released this year. I always felt like Ed O'Brien was kind of one of the more underrated members of Radiohead. Recently saw a funny video of somebody put up of, they called it Ed O'Brien's best guitar solos, and it's basically like all of his most boring moments in the band, because, you know, he's a very different musician, at least particularly in Radiohead, because, you know, he's not really a solo type guitarist. You know, that's mainly Johnny Greenwood, one of my all-time favorite musicians. But yeah, I'd say his guitar work is a lot more pedal driven. And, you know, I'd say like his main musical genius isn't so much in here, it's what he does with his guitar pedals, because he just comes out with some really amazing sounds. You know, gets hands-on, very manipulative of his sounds. I thought this was gonna be my favorite album of the year. I think the last album I'm gonna show may have replaced it very close. between these two, which one's my favorite, but we have Death from Above, 1979's Is for Lovers album. As you can see, I got signed release here. So yeah. Honestly, I'm not too keen on the packaging on this. Like, they have their band logo that's been on all of their releases. They just, you know, kind of did different variations of it. This is the first one that they didn't put the logo on. So this, you know, weird old photograph on it. But, you know, we did have a gatefold with lyrics. And then I really like the color that's on it. The last album I'm going to show also has this effect going on it, but yeah, this is the first time I've got an album that had, like, I don't know what you would call this. I don't know how it's done, but it has that going on it. And I think that's pretty fucking cool. Here's the look at the sleeves, more old photographs going on it. So, oh, and I was mentioning the logo, so that's the logo. You know, like I said, they do different variations on it, you know, based on, like, you know, what they look like currently when it's being released. But yeah, I think it's kind of weird that they didn't put that logo on their cover. But other than that, though, it's a really great album. So Death from Above is like this drum and bass, kind of dancey punk rock band. It's only got two members, a singing drummer, then he got another guy who primarily plays bass. He also plays a little bit of keyboards and occasional backing vocals. Amazing bassist. So I am a bit of a musician myself. I've kind of let it lay low last several years, but I did major in music. I did play bass. And he's one of the people that mainly got me into focusing on bass playing. But yeah, they have a lot of, like, you know, like his bass playing is, you know, very distorted and fast paced. Even though it's just two guys, it definitely doesn't feel stripped down. But this album was a little bit more diverse and, you know, kind of kind of explored a little bit more of somewhat less bass heavy music. There's some more electronic driven songs on here. There's a couple piano driven songs on here. One of the piano songs is kind of weird because, you know, it has kind of more of a slow ballad feel. I believe it was Mean Streets. Yeah, you know, it kind of starts off as, you know, some of, you know, more moody, kind of ballad sound, you know, with some piano. And then it just kind of, you know, from nowhere, just all of a sudden transitions to some, like, really fast-paced, you know, distorted bass stuff, and then it kind of goes back to that ballad feel. Pretty interesting. Some other noteworthy songs. Glass Homes, that's the most electronic-driven songs, or song on here. Has kind of a Daft Punky feel to it. I really loved Totally Wiped Out too. Another kind of more punky song on here. Yeah, really awesome album from Death from Above, 1979. Then the last album that I want to show off that I picked up this year is A Beginner's Mind. This is a collaboration album from Sufjan Stevens and Angelo De Augustine. I'm mainly familiar with Sufjan Stevens. He's a multi-genre artist. Kind of mainly jumps back and forth, I'd say, between two basic sounds. I would say he has kind of a more symphonic-driven folk sound, and then he has a more electronic-driven sound. You know, he kind of jumps back and forth between those two different variations. You know, sometimes he's on a more stripped down folky, more stripped down folky direction, and, you know, other things like that. You know, he has one album, Age of Oz, this, you know, has a lot of symphonic elements and electronic elements, not so much folky. But, you know, you get the idea with him. I'm not very familiar with Angelo De Augustine, but honestly, I kind of feel like he steals the show on this album. He has a very ethereal, I've heard it described as angelic voice, you know, a lot of more falsetto type stuff. And yeah, I've really liked his voice on this album. I'm not overly familiar with, like, you know, his musical output to be able to, like, you know, notice, like, you know, so like the guitar parts, or, you know, his playing that sort of thing, what his contributions would have been. But yeah, I do feel like, at least in terms of vocals, it definitely steals the show on this album. So the concept of this album is got 14 tracks. They're all inspired by movies. I mean, in that sense, I really kind of feel like I'd like to see a sequel to this album. You know, see what other movies these two guys can make some music inspired by. This is kind of more of a folk rock album, but you know, it's kind of has a very ethereal, dreamy sound to it too. You know, I kind of feel like when you say folk rock, you know, you're expecting some, you know, fairly stripped down and straightforward music. You know, I'd say as far as folk rock type music goes, this is a fairly more progressive album, if that makes sense. Yeah, we do have a sleeve with lyrics and a picture here. Like I said, this has a little bit more subtle, actually, but it does have that kind of more shimmery, I guess you could say, effect going on. It's not picking up quite as well on video as I would have liked it to, but you can kind of see a little bit in the middle there. Yeah, nice blue vinyl on here. And yeah, I just really fucking love this album. Forgot also they have like this movie club card on it too that probably should fill it out just for fun. Like, you know, name, date, and favorite film. Kind of fun, quirky little throw in with it. But yeah, in addition to that, I also got all the singles for it. I do think it's kind of disappointing that there's no, like, additional B-sides on it. Like, you know, these are all songs that you could just get listening to the album, or if you get the whole album. But, you know, they did have, like, a special bundle. I thought it'd be kind of fun to get all of these together, so that's what I did. Yeah, it does have some kind of neat artwork, you know, again, inspired by all the movies that they're referencing on here, and it also has some really cool colors going on it. So first off, you have a transparent green disc. Let's see. Then we have a kind of, it's a bit more subtle, but this is transparent, kind of grayish disc. Damn, dropped it. Was in the sleeve, so nothing too big. Just a bit of a hassle for me to pick it up again. And lastly, I believe this one was an opaque disc, actually. Yeah, we got an opaque red disc. So yeah, that's all the new music that I picked up this year. Like I said, not a whole lot of new music that I get. Usually I get, you know, about twice as much or so. I mean, if you're counting these releases, I mean, I guess that's kind of a fairly big release, but I mean, it's just stuff that I got bundled with this, and, you know, nothing new added to it, just nice packaging or whatever. But yeah, that's all the new music that I got this year. Did you listen to any of these? Did you pick up any of these? What music did you pick up and listen to this year? I'm interested in knowing, even though, quite frankly, not really interested in a whole lot of music these days that I'm not already listening to. So, I mean, to be quite frank, whatever new music you got, I probably won't care for it. I'm just being honest here. But yeah, that's the new music that I got this year. Like I said, quality over quantity. So yeah, I'll see you in my next videos. I want to do a video showing all my Hallmark ornaments before Christmas comes up. You know, I'm kind of waiting just in case if I pick up some more new Hallmark ornaments. But I do want to do a Hallmark ornament collection video, so keep an eye out for that. And I will see you around.